Howdy there, true believers. Welcome back to New Old Nerds. I'm Superman Nico, and welcome to my Venom movie review. If you're wondering why I'm all by myself, it's because I have no friends. Here we go. Dating all the way back to when this first trailer came out for this movie, I made a few predictions, and they were all right. Just kidding, I made one prediction. I said at the end of the trailer it should say, "We are Venom," and the next trailer it was, "We are Venom." Am I great or what? I know you guys have probably seen a ton of reviews already, but it seems like if you're a critic, you thought this movie was terrible, and if you're a fan, you thought it was alright. Thought it was a bit of fun. The Rotten Tomato score is really low, but the fan approval rating is really high. Sounds like we got another bloody Last Jedi on our hands. No, this is not as divisive as The Last Jedi, but there still seems to be some sort of split either way. This review will be a semi-spoiler review. I'll try to stay away from most plot points. I'll just kind of say what I thought about certain aspects of the movie. Not a spoiler alert, but proceed with caution. Venom. What is this movie? I don't put it up there with great comic book movies, but I don't put it down there with like Fantastic Four in the lower tier of comic book movies. I think it's a middle tier comic book movie at best. I think if you take out all the Venom stuff, it is a below average movie. The only reason this isn't a low tier movie is because I like the Venom stuff. Venom's one of my favorite characters, because Spider-Man is my favorite character. So by that association, Venom is right there. And I really want to take into consideration the behind the scenes stuff for this movie. Remember, this was only announced a year and a half ago and we already got the movie. I think that they were on a very strict timeline. I think that there was a lot of studio involvement. I'm surprised that this movie even got made and was good as it was as serviceable as it was. I think all the Venom and Tom Hardy related things were really good. I like their relationship between him with host and symbiote, but I like how they changed that. They voiced over all the times they said symbiote or symbiote and put symbiote, which I like. I say symbiote. That's what they said in the cartoon that I watched when I was a kid, so that's what I wanted. But everything outside of the Venom stuff was kind of meh. I try not to be too negative when it comes to reviewing movies, but I just didn't like anything that didn't have to do with the symbiote. I felt like the Michelle Williams character, She-Venom, whatever she was, I thought her character was a little quick to throw Eddie by the wayside. The best character that wasn't Eddie Brock wasn't the villain, wasn't the love interest, it was the doctor, it was the new boyfriend. I thought he was a great character, mainly because he just wasn't a douchebag for no reason. Like, he was a good guy and he was trying to help Eddie out. I really liked that part. And I liked how cool Tom Hardy was with him too. Like, he wasn't like, oh, this fucking guy. He always shook his hand, and like, he was just awkward because has a weird alien symbiote bonded with him. It was fine. I did like the Venom fights with normal people. I did not particularly like when he fought Riot. I think it was just a little bit hard to follow. One thing I saw people complain about is how Venom already had his name. I think that's totally fine. The only other way of getting names in a superhero movie is the newspaper gives it to you, which I think is super unfair, because I mean, how are you going to brand if somebody else is giving you the name of that brand? Or another way is like in Han Solo, where he's just like, oh, Han, let me just do Solo, because you're by yourself and you're alone. Ha, that's worse. Those are worse things. So I don't care. He's just Venom. So when I say the rest of the movie wasn't very good, I meant like, I think that somebody was given plot lines. It's like, oh, the alien needs the symbiote has to be alien, has to come from a spaceship, with J. Jonah Jameson's son being the pilot, which I thought was cool. And then it's like, oh, well, it has to be this guy is the villain, and he loses his job because he was trying to be too hardcore. So he's at the lowest point he is, and then he finds the symbiote, and it just feels like they just kind of wrote in between those things to try and loosely connect them. Like, they're playing connect the dots with all these points that they had to hit, and then they're like, oh, and also you don't get Spider-Man, so just, fix that. If I were to compare this to another comic book movie, it would be Justice League. A lot of people didn't like it. Maybe it wasn't a good movie as a whole, but I had a lot of fun with it, so I don't know, I had a lot of fun with it. Just suck it. The nerd part of my brain just could not have a little fun with this when Venom's over there biting heads off. I wanted it to be a little more gory, but I see why they didn't do it, because they want to eventually cross over with Spider-Man. Back to that later. I think that this was a really hard sell to make a Venom solo movie without any Spider-Man connections. They briefly mentioned New York. We got a hint to another Spider-Man villain towards the end, but there wasn't anything super crazy. We didn't even get Daily Bugle. We got Daily Globe or something like that. This was impossible from the beginning, I feel like. And now that they didn't use Spider-Man in the first place, I think that it's even harder now to put Spider-Man in that story now. A big thing behind the Venom character is because Venom, when he binds with Eddie Brock, he knows everything about Peter because he's already bonded with Peter before. So that's and Peter's the reason Eddie Brock lost his job, and the Venom symbiote hates him too because he detached himself from him. And there's just a lot of things where it's like, how do you put Spider-Man in that now? How are you going to get that major connection of him hating him without him being with the symbiote first? Sorry, this is very confusing, but yeah, let me know down in the comments if that made any sense. I don't mind that this movie was more self-contained. I just think it's the wrong character maybe to have it so self-contained. I think the reason Venom works a lot, or is he's really cool, he's the contrast from the good parts of Spider-Man. Spider-Man is a good person. He's so, like, he's naturally good. And then you have this dark side that what if you had the powers of Spider-Man and you decided to kill for a day. Obviously, he doesn't kill when he has the black suit on, but he almost does, almost kills. Shocker. And I think that makes the character so compelling is when you have that good side to contrast from, or even just another superhero to contrast from. It's like, oh, this isn't your daddy's superhero, this isn't Golden Age Superman, or something like that. This is a new kind of hero, an anti-hero, kicks names and take ass. He kind of just does good right off the bat. He kind of bites the guy's heads off, but I don't think there was anything where he was like did something wrong or overly dramatic. He's not that bad, so it's kind of hard to sell the anti-hero kind of thing. Not having that Spider-Man Peter Parker character to fall back on when you need a hero, like to show like, oh, Spider-Man's gonna just web him up and he's not gonna hurt him. No, Venom's gonna go in and bite his head off. Like, we wanna see that, and there really wasn't a good way to do that in this movie without Spider-Man. Speaking of crossovers and if it's going to be in the MCU, I think they left it vague enough to where it could be in the MCU eventually. If they don't get too overloaded with the Fox characters, I just don't see that really happening. It seemed like this movie made enough money on its own that they're not going to be clamoring for it to be in the MCU anytime soon. I also don't think that the movie was such great quality that Disney's begging for Venom to be in their MCU. One thing that I thought of, I think that could be really interesting, could be really compelling, is just saying that this is in the TASM universe, the Amazing Spider-Man universe with Andrew Garfield. If you're not going to use those characters, that's fine. You can't use that Spider-Man. With Into the Spider-Verse coming out in December on my birthday, if you guys want to donate to buy me tickets, go ahead and comment down below. They're already introducing the concept of alternate versions of Spider-Man. I think people will be smart enough. I think that people are getting used to such outlandish superhero or comic book storylines to where making it an alternate version of a character, I don't think it's that much of a stretch. I think that they can go concurrently, just like the TV shows in DC and the movies. If you're not going to use Andrew Garfield in any other way, I'd love to see a live-action Spider-Verse movie. I think Andrew Garfield would be a good like little Easter egg, even if you don't like full-out mention him. But if you can't get it to cross over with the MCU, I would not hate seeing a Spider-Man versus Venom where we're talking about Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. Maybe give cap on his story because it's still left a little open-ended, even though those movies weren't that good. Alright, so I'm kind of tired of the 1 through 10 movie rating system, but I don't want to make it too confusing, so I have two proposals for you guys. A 3 rating system where the highest you can get is cinema, where I think this movie is really good. You should definitely go see it right now. It should be go see it in the movie theater. 2, the second tier, the middle tier would be Redbox. Yes, it's good. I think you should see it, but probably don't spend $10 at the movies to go see it. And lastly, you would have Netflix, to where, yeah, if it's on the TV, if you already subscribed to Netflix or something else, another streaming service that it's on, wait for it to come out there. The other rating system I would propose is comparing each movie to food. Because when I came out, I was like, this was serviceable. I think it was okay. it was an okay movie. I think the only reason that makes it like a little above average for me is all the Venom stuff. I think seeing him fight those police officers, biting people's heads off, I thought that was really cool. Talking to Eddie in his head. I think the most relatable part of this movie is when Eddie Brock is just walking around and then he has the Venom symbiote go, food. I think we can all can relate to that. I'm a big boy, grown boy. So the food I would compare this movie to would be a beer and nachos. All right, I think it's serviceable. It tastes real good when it's going down. Like, it's fine, but it might hurt you later because maybe you don't digest cheese as well as you should. I don't know. That's what I thought of. Like, beer, nachos, ooh, my tummy. Like, maybe it's not good for you, but it's just a little fun. Venom. The beer and nachos of movies. Alright guys, let me know what you guys think about this movie down in the comments. Let me know if you guys want to cross over with Tom Holland Spider-Man. Maybe if you're like me, maybe just cross over with Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. See if you like that. Another thing I'd like to ask you guys is, how does this video look? I'm doing this make a movie in a week project, and I'm just using this camera for other things as well, and I think it's really cool, and if I ever get enough money, I'm definitely buying this camera because I think it's awesome. This is really fun. I'm smiling. This is genuine. This is genuine joy to use this equipment. They also gave me a MacBook, so I don't know how Premiere works on other laptops, but I'm excited. I'm excited to use it. I'm excited for you guys to see it. I'm supposed to make a short film. I think I'm going to do like a New World Nerd documentary. I think that the channel update was one of our best received videos where I was being genuine, and I kind of want to double down on that and maybe reach a bigger audience in this contest. Alright, you guys know what to do. Hit that like button if you feel we deserve it. Subscribe to the channel. Hit me up on Twitter at New World Nerds. That's all I got for you today, folks. Keep nerding out there, true believers. Before I go, if you guys feel very strongly about New World Nerds, like you love New World Nerds or you hate New World Nerds, whatever it is, I'm going to ask you to send in, this has to be in by Monday. I don't know what time this video is coming out, but you have to send me this video I'm asking you for. Hit me up on Twitter or hit me down in the comments what the video will be if we get that far. But yeah, if you want to help me with that New World Nerd documentary, I would ask a video from you. And just get in contact with me of what that video would need to be. Alright, get out of here. I'm out of breath. So exhausted. I'm having a bunch of fun up here. Get out of here.